These kids said everything about gender and this and that and the other, but they didn't say anything about art. And this is my biggest gripe with this whole controversy with the closer, that you cannot report on an artist's work and remove artistic nuance from his words. It would be like if you were reading a newspaper and they say, man, shot in the face by a 6-foot rabbit, expected to survive. You'd be like, oh my God. And they never tell you it's a Bugs Bunny cartoon. I took a lot of cold shots in show business. And I gotta tell you, as the years go on, you feel the shots less and less as just the business, is what you say. But that one, that day, boy, that day they hurt me. When I heard those talking points coming out of these children's faces, that really, sincerely hurt me. Because I know those kids didn't come up with those words. I've heard those words before. The more you say I can't say something, the more urgent it is for me to say it. And it has nothing to do with what you're saying I can't say. It has everything to do with my right, my freedom of artistic expression that is valuable to me, that is not separate from me. It's worth protecting. And Peggy Cooper Cafritz, as sick as she was, got out of her bed so she could be with her babies. She never left us, so I did it. Say, you know, whatever you want to do, however I can help, I'll do it. I gotta tell you, if you quit a show like Chappelle's show, I don't know if you know what happens to you professionally, but I'll tell you what doesn't happen. They don't just say, well, good luck in your future endeavors. With that media, they beat me up. With their power, they tried to make me behave. It takes a strong person to stand out in the cold like that. And I swear to God, so much of the strength I got to do that, the inner warmth I got to do that, I learned in this school and from my friends who helped raise me. So why wouldn't I do anything I could to help my benefactor? And the last time I came back, after the closer, when the kids were mad at me, I gotta tell you, that was quite the day. All the kids were screaming and yelling. I remember I said to the kids, I go, well, okay, well, what do you guys think I did wrong? And a line formed. Protecting for me, and it's worth protecting for everyone else who endeavors in our noble, noble professions. And these kids didn't understand that they were instruments of oppression. And I didn't get mad at them. They're kids, they're freshmen, they're not ready yet. They don't know. What made me mad, and I am this petty, I ain't saying names. One of the kids' mother went on Fox News. And she used to be a student here. I remember her face, but I don't know if she was particularly popular. Anyway. She was in the literary media arts department. She said a lot of things that I didn't like, a lot of things, but, you know, that's her right. Things she said that got to me. She said, at Duke Ellington, that theater was a sanctuary for students. I used to sit there and meditate. Well, of course you'd meditate. You were a literary media arts student. We didn't meditate in here, we got to work. But okay, fine. I would sit in there and meditate, she said. And then she scrunched her face up. She's a beautiful woman, but her face looked hideous the way she scrunched it up. And she said, and just to imagine his name on that theater. How could you do that to those kids? Listen, no matter what they said about The Closer, it was still the most watched special in the world. And I am still of the mind, and I say this with all humility, it is a masterpiece. And I challenge all my peers to make its equal. They cannot. I am sure. It will be decades before you ever see someone in my genre as proficient as me. I am maybe a once-in-a-lifetime talent. And I wasn't willing to accept that. So I quit. And when I quit, it was a very difficult time in my life that I'll spare you the details, but man, fuck show business. It was tough. And then one day I was in Panama City, Panama, and I was at a hotel, and I looked at the lobby. There was a painting of Abraham Lincoln. And then I would look closer. It wasn't a painting. It was all pennies, just pennies, on a black canvas arranged into the face of Abraham Lincoln. And I asked the guy, I said, how much is that painting worth? He said, $600,000, sir. And I looked at the pennies that made up the painting, and I was like, that's like $300 worth of pennies. A light bulb went in my head. I realized the value of art. Some of the biggest wars and crimes and scandals in history were financed through the theft of art. Art is a powerful commodity. And artists, if you're good at it, should never behave as a commodity. That's a tough one. And then I gave up. I said, this is probably it. I accepted the fact that the career I thought I was going to have was over, but I started to rediscover just my art for its own sake. I would go to comedy clubs, and I worked for way less money than I ever had, and I enjoyed it more than any of the work I ever did. It was probably the best work I'll ever do, because it was so honest. It was so sincere. There was no media, there was no studio, there was no scrutiny, just me and the crowds. And I did it night after night, and slowly but surely the crowds got bigger and bigger. And then suddenly people started to notice, and Polestar would say, Dave Chappelle has the tour of the year. And again, and then the year after that, and then the year after that. I said, you mean I would get out of Eastern? After I did after I did Saturday Night Live, Lorne Michaels said something that I got to share with you. He goes, you went to Peggy Caford School, didn't you? That's what he said. And I said, I did. And he said, I want to say to Saturday Night Live, he goes, tell her I owe her money. You know, I never asked to have this theater named after me. Peggy asked me. She was ailing, and I went to her house to visit her. She said, I want you to put your name on the school. She said, it will help us raise money for the school. And to me, it was like, I felt like I'm a little young for that, and I'm still kind of using the name, you know what I mean? Let's see what I do with it first. You never know, Like, imagine if OJ named his son OJ Jr. Oh, Dad. And around then, I was receiving the Mark Twain Prize, huge honor. And the next day, all the artists that came to honor me, the Bradley Coopers and Chris Tuckers and all these great people, came to Ellington, and they taught master classes for the students.
Here is a 30-minute commentary from a woman watching the video titled Dave Chappelle on What's Going On, Fellas. You know, I stumbled across this clip earlier today, and I've been sitting with it. I've watched it 3 times now. And I think what's happening here with this title, Dave Chappelle on What's Going On Fellas, is that people are looking for answers. They're looking for a diagnosis. They're looking for the great oracle of our time, the court jester who actually speaks the truth, to come out and explain the quiet, gnawing feeling that a lot of men, and honestly, a lot of us in general, are feeling right now. And I say this as a lady watching from the outside, but also from the inside of this culture. I see Dave walk out on that stage, and in this clip, he's got that signature swagger, the cigarette smoke kind of wafting up, the stool, the glass of something brown on the table. You know you're not getting a stand-up routine. You're getting a sermon. He sits down, and he does this thing where he looks out at the audience, and he doesn't even say anything for a solid 15 seconds. He just looks. And in that silence, you can feel the room holding its breath. He starts talking, and he immediately sets the tone. He doesn't say, "Hey, what's up?" He starts talking about the weight, and I think that's the first thing that struck me. He starts talking about how heavy everything feels, and he looks specifically at the men in the audience, the fellas. He says something to the effect of, I see you in here, I see you trying to hold it together. And I'm sitting here on my couch, listening to this, and I'm thinking about the men in my life, my father, my uncles, my friends' husbands, and I'm thinking about how much of their existence is defined by the absence of a question. Nobody asks a man, "Are you okay?" They ask, "How's work?" Or, "Did you see the game?" But they don't ask, "How is your soul doing?" And Dave, in his way, he goes there. He starts weaving this story, and you know Dave, he's a storyteller. He doesn't just tell jokes, he takes you on a journey about a friend of his. He doesn't name names, but he talks about this friend who had everything. The car, the house, the beautiful family, the job that was supposed to mean success. And then, one day, this friend just stopped. He didn't have a breakdown in the dramatic sense, no screaming or crying. He just stopped engaging. Dave describes it as the man just going quiet. And I'm listening to Dave describe this, and he's doing his physical comedy even while sitting down. He's mimicking this friend, just staring at the TV, not seeing. And Dave looks at the audience, and he says, "That's what happens. You build the whole thing. You build the empire. And then you wake up one day and realize you're a slave to the empire." That line hit me. Because as a woman, we're taught to want the empire. We're taught to want the stability, the provider, the man with the plan. But Dave is pointing out the flaw in the architecture. He's saying, what's going on, fellas, is that you've been sold a bill of goods. You were told that if you get the money, the status, the respect, that the peace would follow. But the peace never comes. The peace is always one more promotion away, one more car away. And the audience is laughing, because Dave is funny. He does this bit about the difference between how men and women process stress. And he's careful here. He's walking a tightrope. He's not putting women down, but he's pointing out a fundamental difference in how we're built. He says a woman, when she's stressed, she'll call her friend, she'll talk it out, she'll process it in a circle of community.